Alvarez getting loose, getting better here in this round, though. Oh, man, until then.
Enter into the unforgiving arena where only the bravest dare to tread. The Octagon, where warriors rise, the ordinary bow out, and the relentless pursuit of glory unfolds. In the brutal dance of blood, sweat, and skill, MMA reveals its saga of resilience and sheer determination.
Hand by Henderson.
Watch out for the knee, he caught him, and another one. Henderson's in trouble.
In the canvas where bones crack and champions are forged. Brace yourself as Rank Express takes you on an exploration into the annals of combat sports, unveiling the epitome of greatness. Behold, the top 10 MMA fighters of all time. Kindly like and subscribe to the channel, and without ado, here we go. If there was ever a perfect example of winning against all odds, then Miocic would be that perfect man. The Croatian Firefighter is a two-time UFC Heavyweight Champion with a stellar record. 20-4, 15 TKOs. Holds the record for most wins in heavyweight title fights, along with the longest title defense streak in the heavyweight division. For any man that thinks he's the smoke, Miocic quenched.
Good right hand by Stipe. Arlovsky's hurt. This could be it.
With the record 9 Fight Night bonus awards, the Fireman ranks highest among his UFC heavyweight class. Stipe Miocic is a heavyweight goat, standing tall at 6'4", weighing 234 pounds. Don't come close, cause you might get burnt. When talking of title defenses and you don't mention this next fighter, then you talk rubbish. Remembered not just conquering the Octagon, but life itself. Even a moving train couldn't stop him. Mathew Hughes remains ahead of all, even in retirement.
He gets with his ability to stuff the takedown. Big left hook! Here comes Hughes!
A two-time UFC Welterweight Champion, a UFC Hall of Fame inductee, a NJCAA Hall of Fame inductee, Mathew Allen Hughes in the UFC put together a mind-blowing 6-fight winning streak. Twice defeated all the available opposition in the welterweight division, he reigned king. In 54 fights, he won 45 and knocked out his opponents 21 times. The #1 pound-for-pound mixed martial artist in the world during his reign. Even to this day, he is the greatest welterweight fighter ever seen, and one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters in sports history. Next up is the almighty one from Brazil. 100 times skillful, twice deadly. From the slums of Rio to the highest point of the UFC featherweight division, Jose Aldo is nicknamed the King of Rio for a reason. 39 matches, 31 wins, 17 TKOs. The GOAT of the featherweight division. Defending his UFC title a total of 7 times and his WEC title twice, Aldo was no man to be joked with. You come for his title, you get dealt with.
One of these men will probably get a shot at the champion right off the bat.
He was so great that after his first MMA defeat in 2005, he remained undefeated for over a decade, winning 18 straight fights until December 2015, when he came across the Irish Devil, Conor McGregor. However, in Sherdog's April 2017 pound-for-pound ranking, Aldo was called the greatest featherweight in mixed martial arts history. Up next, we have the MMA fighter who never knew the word defeat. From Russia is the gladiator whose only known English word was champion. With 29 wins and 0 losses, he is the longest reigning UFC lightweight champion ever, ranked #1 in the UFC men's pound-for-pound, one of the Fight Matrix's lightweights of all time, one of Forbes' most successful Russian athletes, most successful Russian show business and sports personalities under 40 in 2019.
To the body and head.
During Khabib's reign in the UFC, he had the Federation strip him of the title during his vacation. Never knew what loss was until his dad, who was also his coach, died. Then he felt pain. Khabib retired as a champion. Only called it quits from combat sports because his dad wouldn't be the one to put the belt around him anymore. Khabib had a certain friend in the MMA who knew exactly what deep pain was, and poured it all out on his opponents. This is As a young wrestler, Daniel experienced the loss of both parents, and this unbearable loss of his loved ones was channeled into his fights. A turned wild beast, unable to be tamed by anyone he crosses paths with.
Exactly what you gotta do.
The Octagon was filled with his opponent's blood, tears, and Cormier's sweat. He is a former UFC lightweight and heavyweight champion, the second fighter ever in history to be champion in 2 weight divisions, fought 26 battles, won 22, and lost only 3. 2 of the defeats came in the hands of Stipe Miocic. From freestyle wrestling to the mixed martial arts, Cormier conquered it all. Henry Cejudo is simply the GOAT, nicknamed Triple C. When it comes to fights, Cejudo has won it all. A former UFC flyweight champion and bantamweight champion, the UFC fighter held titles in 2 different weight classes and defended both titles. Incredible, right? But that's not all. Cejudo is also the only person to win an Olympic gold medal as a wrestler and a UFC title.
Wow, it looked like the loss was inevitable.
Now you know why he is called Triple C. Wrestling champion, UFC champion, world champion. However, the next MMA fighter did everything Cejudo did, but in a higher weight class. Khabib Nurmagomedov always said his dad's favorite fighter was George St Pierre. If you are in search of that one complete fighter, George had it all. Battling in the welterweight division, George never declined an opponent. He fought the best of the best and beat them mercilessly. If you were great, St Pierre proved he was greater.
GSP drops Bisping!
A 3-time UFC welterweight champion and middleweight champion, who only relinquished his title when he desired to retire. If you do not know our next fighter, you do not know MMA. Oh yes, Anderson Silva was so great he stood #1 in all records held. The former UFC middleweight champion holds the record for the longest title reign ever in UFC history, from 2006 to 2013, with a record 16 consecutive victories. The president of the UFC, Dana White, claims the icon is the greatest MMA fighter of all time. With all due respect to all the GOATs, Anderson is said to be above all the names.
None. Oh! He front kicked him in the face!
Inducted recently into the UFC Hall of Fame in July 2023. Does it get better than this? Who else makes this list? Fighting in the flyweight class, he was that champion feared by all. And yes, on their rights, because he was 10 times more dangerous than whoever, and he had no pity. Currently competing in the ONE Championship, Johnson is the current ONE flyweight champion and was the inaugural UFC flyweight champion. First of his kind, the fighter destroyed all his rivals, deadly and ready. With a record of 25-4 in the MMA, Johnson reigned supreme in his division. And finally, the one you've been waiting for, a man so great he got bored of winning, so he challenged the champions in other sports. I am certain this man needs no introduction. He was controversially stubborn and excellently talented. McGregor knew he was better than everyone. A former UFC champion featherweight and lightweight champion, he was the first UFC fighter to have held 2 UFC champions in 2 weight classes. He was the blueprint of dominance.
Big shot from McGregor! Look at the clock closely. 10 seconds!
Conor took MMA to a larger scale globally. He is the biggest pay-per-view draw in MMA, headlining the 5 highest-selling UFC pay-per-view events ever. Forbes ranked him #1 as the world's most paid athlete of 2021. When this man got bored of winning in the MMA, he challenged boxing champion Floyd Mayweather to a boxing match. If you see Conor, run and don't look back. Wow, what a list. In no particular order, we have 10 of the greatest fighters to ever be in MMA. Did you like the video? Kindly like and subscribe to Rank Express for more, and watch our videos on the top 10 martial arts fighters, boxers, and wrestlers of all time.